Now you listen to me. I don't want any plastics. I don't want any ground floors. And I don't want to get married to anyone. You understand that? I want to do what I want to do. And you
Walmart, the mall. The mall's the best spot because of the smooth floor.
Yeah. It makes sense. It's like, I don't know how long.
Yeah.
Just go, cruising through there.
Yeah.
Okay.
I actually, I broke my arm riding Heelys, dude, in 5th grade. Yeah. I was, we went, our whole family like went to my older brother's football game.
Yeah.
And you know how like bleachers, sometimes they have the stairs and they'll have like the handicap like ramp? Yeah. Dude, so I was just going down the ramp and I run back up and go down the ramp and run back up. And then I was like, okay, I'm gonna go faster. So I would grab the rails and just like pull myself to go faster.
Yeah.
I don't know what happened, but like my wheel just got caught in one of the cracks, dude, and I just flew forward. And both bones just snapped up like that, dude.
Oh.
Yeah.
I forgot about that.
Dude.
You didn't know. You didn't forget.
No. Yeah, dude.
Yeah,
it was
it's kind of unforgettable.
It was a time.
Especially in Heelys. Did you ride Heelys? Did you use Heelys after that?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, still?
Dude, as soon as I got my cast on, I had a giant cast from my hand all the way to here. I just ride around with my cast. Giant blue cast, dude. Yeah. My mom
at school days,
well, hated it, but it was funny.
Yeah. School days.
Well, Lawrence, thanks for coming, dude.
Yeah,
it's
absolutely.
freaking like 8:30 at night on a Monday,
hey,
and you're here.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Hey, blessed to be here. Blessed to be here with you guys. So
Dude,
thank you for inviting me, Joseph.
Thanks for being here.
I always
bro.
like to give people context to how we met, right? So, because we have this theme now where a lot of people come on, like I was telling you, and they're just people that we randomly met.
Yeah.
And then we're like, hey, let's have you on the pod. And so you came to our young adult group, the one that I just happened to be giving the lesson on for the first time ever. And you weren't going to go, but you like showed up with your girlfriend.
Yeah.
And then you were in my group and we just started talking.
Yeah.
Right? That's pretty much how you shared a little bit about your story. And I was like, dude, I would love to hear more about that.
Yeah.
So thanks for coming on, man. I appreciate it.
Thanks for having me.
Absolutely. You're a cool guy. So we like having...
Your message that night, like seriously, touched my heart.
Really?
It was a blessing to be able to go there and just meet you and connect with you. And you being the person to be in my group to just talk, I don't know, everything played out. Like,
it did.
Perfectly, you know?
I wanted it to, man. It played out.
Hey, man. Hey, man, seriously. Hey, the Lord works in mysterious ways.
He does. So we always have people kind of start by giving us a little bit of background. Where did Lawrence come from? How did he get to where he's at now? Like, how did you grow up? Tell us, take us back.
Oh, so that's pretty interesting. So I grew up here in Texas, here in Round Rock. And most of my family is from Alabama and stuff like that. And so used to just going out there into the country and being out there with my grandparents and stuff like that. Just being out in the country, open field, peace, peace of mind. Grew up with both of my parents in the house. It's been a little rough with them because my dad is a firefighter and he, there's days where he'd be at work for like 4 days at a time.
Oh,
and
yeah.
my mom hated it, and so growing up, she would always project like hatred towards my dad onto us, and we started hating my dad. And, I mean, now that we're older, things are a lot better, because I understand that he had to go do what he had to do so that we could like live the way that we get to live, and like actually get to eat,
Yeah.
But yeah, grew up in a pretty nice neighborhood, and I thank God for that. Went to school, elementary school. Hated it. It was interesting, but hated it. I didn't like sitting still in a chair. They diagnosed me with ADHD, make me take medication and stuff like that. Still hated it. Got to middle school, same thing. I was known kind of like I was kind of like an outcast kid because I got along with people, but I only had like 3 friends at school, 3 or 4 friends, and we would always either eat lunch together. And Yeah, eat lunch together or go skate together, you know? And outside, like at the ditch, that's what we would call it, the ditch. We do everything at the ditch, bro. It's crazy. Oh,
That's a dope name for a hangout
That
spot,
is.
dude. The ditch.
oh my
See you
gosh,
at the
man.
ditch, 3 o'clock.
Dude, it was, yeah. Hey, it was like that. It was like that. Lunch, dude, everything. No, but the ditch. No, but middle school. So you know what? Okay, I'll take this a step back. So in elementary school, I did something kind of stupid. Um, which I don't know if I want to say, but I'm definitely gonna tell you guys afterwards.
Okay.
Okay.
You know,
Okay.
did something pretty stupid. Got sent to like a detention center for a year, and that's when I was in third grade. And I ended up going to. It's not juvie, but it's like a level below juvie, and so I was around kids who were like 17 and 18, and they were picking. Yeah, dude,
You were in third grade?
yeah, I was in third
Dang,
grade,
dude.
and they made sure I knew it. They made sure
Holy
I knew it,
cow.
bro. Like I'd go. They'd be sitting there calling me crazy names, like cussing me out, and I'm just a kid. Now that I'm older, I'm like, okay, I see that they were just picking on me, but as a kid, like it really hurt, you know.
Mm-hmm.
And then so
Yeah.
went back to normal school, and then everybody knew me as a kid that like left and went to Jew, and they were like, oh well, he's crazy, he's weird. I'm like, dude, I did something, I messed up. I'm sorry,
I
And
was in
then
third grade.
yeah, exactly. I was in third grade, and then middle school comes around and it was the same thing, kind of had the same four buddies and same thing, skateboarding. And I always loved sports. Like I really wanted to get into sports, except my parents wouldn't let me play sports because my grades were so bad. And so what would happen is like I'd take these ADHD pills, but I would feel like some of the learning that was going on in the classroom was just like it was worthless. Because there were so many other things that from a kid we had like been taught about. Like my dad, when we were maybe like 7, 8, 9 years old, he used to sit us down and we'd watch like Bible stories for like 3 or 4 hours. And we'd sit there and he would read the Bible to us for 3 or 4 hours. And my mom would come and she would be like, actually, like, I hate this. I don't know why you're making them sit here and do this because you don't mean my sister be falling asleep. We're like, Dad, can we please leave? I appreciate it now,
Yeah.
but like, yeah, back then it created a whole nother situation. And so coming into, like school, I had my dad who would sit and we would have like one-on-one conversations and he would explain things to me and he
Whoa.
would do it over and over again and break it down in different scenarios and help me learn. And so that's how like I kind of realized that's how I learn. And then I get to school and the teacher's like, all right, 15xyz squared minus fx is the perimeter of what? And I'm sitting there like, bro, like, what are we talking about? Like what is it that we're really trying to get to? And
Yeah.
then, they'd say it one time and it's like, all right, well, next class we have a test. I'm like, great, I'm gonna go skate. I appreciate the time. I can't do it. And so, yeah, my grades were bad. They wouldn't let me play sports. And so I got to high school, and high school was interesting because that's when like you get to a point of you see like the clicks, like everything kind of starts opening up and you learn. You thought you knew about bad stuff in middle school, and it's like you get to high school, there's the bad stuff, the quote unquote crazy. So it does
Yeah.
get pretty crazy. Some weird stories, though. Some weird story. I mean, from like I've heard from other people.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm not. I'm not going to say anything, but got to high school and I wanted to play football. And my dad he played football. He was supposedly going to go to the NFL, and he says it to this day. He's like, "I'm glad I didn't go because I probably wouldn't have had y'all. I probably would have been doing some crazy stuff." And I was like, "Well, that's why the Lord works in mysterious ways.
Yeah.
Thank God that we're here." And so went to go try that out. First practice, I got busted, like completely knocked out. I remember this dude named Zarian, uh, quarterback. Yeah, he was quarterback. Dude hikes the ball, gets it. He drops the ball. He fumbles it and like looks at me, picks it up, and we're playing against the varsity line. So these guys are just like,
Of course.
yeah, like like they're gonna tear us up. He looks at me like, throws it to me. I grab it, and as soon as I look, I just get popped, and then I wake up like on the sideline. I was like, oh, and my
No
dad is
way.
like, yeah. And my dad, that was the practice that my dad came to because it was our first practice. Because he was like, I've been telling you, don't play football. And I was like, Dad, I want to try it out. Like, I want to play. And he was like, okay, I'm going to go to your first practice. And that's what happened at first practice.
No.
Wait, what
Yeah.
grade? What grade were you in for that?
I was a sophomore. I didn't play freshman year. Didn't play
Okay.
freshman year at all. I went into football as a sophomore, which was probably a bad idea.
Yeah.
So
Still, that's messed up, dude. Whoever laid you out like that, that's freaking.
and I know the
up.
dude. I know the dude.
Oh, for real?
Yeah, because I'm friends with his little brother. Because me and him,
Oh, okay,
me and his
okay.
little brother are really good friends. And I see it for what it is now.
Yeah.
But yeah, and then left football because I was like, all right, I still want contact. I can't play anything. And I went to go play lacrosse for a little bit. And well, actually, I take that back. So right after football, I was like, okay, let's start thinking about rugby. Since they're not going to let me play the season, I have concussion, I can't do anything. Like, let's start thinking about rugby. My friend Jackson, I remember he was like, hey, in a month or something, they have a practice coming up. You want to go? Do you want to go? And I was like, yeah, sure. So, and then I started to go play lacrosse because there was this guy named Quentin, another African-American guy who played lacrosse, and he was like the only one on the team. And he was playing at the time that he asked me to come to a practice, and then he stopped playing. And then I went to a practice, and I liked some of the guys who were there. Like, it was really cool. But lacrosse, I hate to bring race into it because I'm not like a race guy. I have guys that like my cousins that look like you guys,
Yeah,
like seriously,
Yeah.
And so
It's okay to call it what it is. Like lacrosse is primarily there's a lot of white dudes play lacrosse.
I know,
a
but
lot of
it's
white dudes
Native
play
American.
hockey.
Yeah, true. And
Yeah.
yeah, it's funny. My best friend plays hockey. He's from Pennsylvania.
Yeah.
so like, and
You're racist, dude.
it was.
You're racist.
Don't do that to him. Don't do that to him. It's not. No, but I got there and it was good, dipping my toes into a new sport. It was actually like really fun, but as like practices like kept going, I realized that I was like, okay, this may not be the place for me just because I see like how they treat me and kind of like every other joke that came out of their mouth had to do with me being black. And I was like, I mean, I don't mind you guys, but like, dude, you could crack a black joke every now and then. I don't care. But like, dude, every time I see you, like,
every day.
bro, yeah,
It's
like
a little much.
it's like, dog, I get it. I'm black. Can we move on? Like I get it. Can we move forward now?
Yeah.
And so, I walked out onto the field one day, and it was like a snowy day, and they had the word NIGGER like spelled out across the field, and I was just like, I wanted to be a part of this team, but guys, like it's just annoying at this point. I can't do it anymore.
That's crazy, dude.
I know, and lacrosse was really cool. It really was, but just the team that team that was at that school, I mean, it happens, it's out of my control, and then left that and went into rugby, and then that's where I kind of found where that's where my sweet spot was. Because in rugby, you get to play offense and defense. And in football, it's like, okay, you're either offense or defense unless you're like that guy. You know what I mean? Unless you're that guy, you can play both. And if you're not, you're not, So, yeah, rugby was great. My first year, I started playing sevens rugby because there's 15s rugby and sevens rugby. And sevens rugby was my thing. First game, I scored like 7 or 8 tries. I was like, I love this, Coach is like, you're fast. We want to put you on academy team. So, of course, I had to keep training, and I started training with the varsity guys. At least the cool thing about rugby, though, was with the varsity guys, like they were there to teach me and help me, not just like run me over and kill me, because in football,
right? That's nice when they can actually help you get better.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Yeah, it is, It's like, wow, who would have thought, but dude, it was a really blessing of an experience because I got to meet guys who were like my brothers, and I got that team experience of just, being on the field and being able to say, okay, I'm playing right now because of that dude and that dude right there because, I want to watch his back. He's got to make it out of this game. He's got to just so many different scenarios. Like one dude had a kid on the team and he was like, dude, I'm trying to win this game for my son. And we're in high school. Bro has a son, and I'm just like, okay, bro, like I got you. If old dude over there is gonna hit you, like we're here to back you, bro. You know, we're here.
Wow.
You know, and so we played together, and it really built a brotherhood. And that first season, yeah, first season of our JV season, we went undefeated. And that was what was crazy to me is I prayed before every game because I was like, you know what, boys, like let's do this. Let's band together, so bow our heads, and pray before this game. Like just pray for protection. Pray to have a good time.
Yeah.
Pray to like thankful that we're here to be able to play this sport on this field, you know, on this field today when other people are dying. You know, and we're able to just have fun. You know, and so did that, and we went undefeated that season. It was great, and I thank the Lord for it. And then next season, our varsity season, was when COVID happened. And yeah, it kind of took like everything away. There were guys, we were all trying to get scholarships. We were all like, oh, we're going to go to Life University. We're going to Georgia. We can go to Lindenwood. No, nothing. Like every sport, and I'm sure you guys are aware of what happened in 2020.
Yeah.
You know, like it was every college player or athlete, all of their offers just kind of went down the drain. You know, but it was a realizing factor of like, okay, there's more to life than just this. And you know, and that was kind of what I got from it too. Like when God took it away, because we were all like, okay, this is all we have. Like this is what we love. This is what we're gonna do. And I was like, oh nope, not anymore. Figure out something else. You know? And so it was cool though. And you know, for me, that's when I went to men's league. Some of my teammates went off and they moved in other places and moved in with girls and, you know, and crazy stuff. You know, I still pray for them. And,
Had more kids.
You know, you said what?
Had more kids.
Yeah, pretty, you know, which is not a bad thing, but I was like, dude, get married. You know, he's, you know, like, you know, yeah. And so, yeah, man, I went on to play in the men's league, and that was really scary at first because I was the youngest guy on the team, and I was just getting kind of into it. Like, okay, let's see how the men play versus the boys. Yeah, first couple of games I got smacked, got thrown around. Like it was nothing that I didn't expect.
Yeah.
And then my coach, who I worked for about a year at the warehouse, he told me, he was like, hey, I'm going to take you in. We're going to make you a really good player and da-da-da. And so he was kind of my mentor for that year. Now, I love this guy, you know, and he's a father now. He's a good father. But there were also things like his dad owned a titty bar. And that was his like safe haven. So after work or on like Saturdays, he'd be like, Lawrence, do you want to go eat at a strip club? And I'd be like, you know what? I don't want to tell him no because I'm his only, like the only people that worked in the warehouse were me and him.
Yeah.
He doesn't have anybody else, and he kind of treated me as a son. So I would go with him to these places, and I'm just like, Coach, you know I hate being here, but I'm gonna eat here with you, you know?
Yeah.
And that was an experience on its own where I learned from then. I was like, yeah, this is not an environment for me. It's not what people make it out to be, you know, because a lot of young people are like, oh yeah, dude, let's go to a strip club and we'll spend money. Dude, that is the last place you need to spend money. Like, you know, and I feel bad for the girls that are on stage because it's like, dude, the whole thing.
Yeah.
The whole thing is
For sure.
that it's a business.
Yeah.
But yeah, he taught me a lot about rugby IQ and just building that. And he gave me a more mature perspective because he played professional rugby for about 22 years.
Dang,
With
that's a long time.
Yeah, and he was a beast, and he was a fast guy too. And so he kind of took me under his wing, and we were running like 70 sprints a day, 70, 80 sprints a day, dude. Like that was the fastest I've ever been. And then meanwhile, while all this is happening, my head is getting really big because now everywhere I go, I'm like, dude,
you're the man.
Because I'm like, yeah. I started believing the hype, and then now that I'm here, I realize, you know, I think the Lord, those doors are still open, but I realize like, don't believe the hype so much because you still have to work. You know, like the guys that are pros, they all have been at that point where like, oh, I'm him. Now you're around guys who are all like, oh yeah, I'm him. So what makes you different? You get what I mean? So what sets you apart from that? And But yeah, leading into my first like professional tournament, we were just training nonstop. I'd wake up, go to work. All we did at work was lift boxes, stack pallets. And then for my lunch break, which was at 12 every day, we'd go run the 70 sprints, come back. And then after work, we'd go to the gym. So it was just a grind like that. That was my life for a little bit. And then after, coming in the first tournament, started getting distracted. Girls, got to the tournament, played good in the first game. Second game was all right, but third game comes around and my coach is like, dude, you are the you're in the top 3 fastest people here. And he's comparing, like, there's guys there like Carlin Isles, one of the fastest rugby players in the world and stuff like that. And he's like, I think you can sweep him on the edge. And I was like, really? And he was like, yeah. And I was like, okay, we'll see. I was like, okay, we'll see. And then third match comes around and we play this is like a Samoan team. These are those Islander guys. They've been playing rugby since they came out the womb, dude. Exactly, dude. And so, I got the ball. This is maybe second quarter, second half. I'm running. And I'm like, okay, I'm going to score this try. Next thing I know, dude just bust me clean with his head. Like, he pops me clean. That's why I have this little scar right here. And I almost got knocked out, but like, I got popped and I rolled over and the blood was just gushing down my face. And I tried to get up and I couldn't walk. And they had to like carry me off the field, went to the hospital.
Oh my God.
And yeah, dude, I was crying because I was like, why? It's not the pain that's bothering me so much, but the fact that like I prepared so much for this. And then just to get knocked out, like just to get dropped, and then, that month of after the tournament, dude, that first couple of days of just being in darkness, not being able to like go outside, I was like, Lord, why? Like, what is it? What did I do? And now now I realize it. I probably should have been a lot more focused, should have been a lot more humble, should have talked to him a lot more during the game. I still prayed before the game, but I should have been in more connection. I feel like there were missing pieces that there were a lot of things that I could have done to prepare a lot better that I didn't do. And now that I'm older, being out of it, I'm like, oh, well, now I would do this instead of this, rather than this.
Gotcha.
So how old were you during
I was
all that time, like that tournament and everything?
This was last year, 21, I believe.
Dang. And so you're 22 now.
Yes, sir.
So this was like a men's league.
Yeah.
That was like had some pro players.
Well, yeah, there were all
pretty intense
pro teams there.
Oh,
yeah.
Okay.
And so it was basically like a shot of getting to dip your toes in the water,
Wow.
Yeah.
Dude.
It's really interesting, I would suggest you guys to go watch it one day. They come to Round Rock sometimes. I think you guys will have fun. Yeah. It's at the Round Rock Sports Complex and it's called Freetail 7th. It's New Year's and it's like the only rugby tournament I think in America that happens on New Year's Eve or something like that.
Really?
Yeah.
Dude, that'd be so fun to go to.
I would love to go to that.
Yeah, dude.
I watched the New Zealand All Blacks Amazon Prime documentary series.
Oh, yeah.
And that was like my first introduction to what rugby was.
Yeah.
And they make it look like vicious ballerina, like ballet with the freaking with the cameras and the slow-mo and everything. Dude. And I was just like, this is sick. And they do their pregame
the haka and stuff like that.
It was sick, dude. So I have so much respect for people who play hockey, lacrosse, or rugby, because I think those are some of the most physically intense, but also like just athletic, like pure athletic games you could possibly play.
For sure.
In terms of hand-eye coordination, running, agility, and contact.
Yeah.
Strength,
dude.
endurance.
Like there's all aspects of it are in that game. Specifically, those games. Yeah. So, dude, mad respect for that. Seriously.
Yeah.
That is sick.
I appreciate you. I don't think
especially at such a young age.
Yeah.
That's crazy, dude.
Clearly you're gifted with that, for sure. Like, I think that's what your coach saw.
Yeah.
He was like, hey, dude, you got some serious potential. Let me take you under my wing.
Yeah. I
So-
mean, I think I would say this just based off of you guys' like size and demeanor. I think you guys could play rugby too. It's like
I mean,
once
maybe
you-
one game until I get destroyed, yeah, and then I'll be out for the rest of my life.
I know, man, but it yeah.
I played football
Oh
like
yeah.
from high school and a little bit of college, but I never got the chance to play rugby. But I would have loved to try it.
Good. Yeah.
I feel like you'd probably like rugby a lot more.
I feel like
than me.
I feel like
I think you would.
it would be fun.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so you went through a lot right there. Can you wrap up sort of like where you are right now, and then I have some curiosities that I want to.
Oh, yeah.
We'll just go back through and I want
Yeah.
to ask you some questions. But
Absolutely.
so what are you doing now?
So now I'm working on a farm with my uncle. It's my uncle's property. It's cool. It's like technically our family property,
Mhm.
you know, and in the future I plan on like having a little spot there, a little
Heck
cabin or something, you know, just my dogs and a cabin, dirt bike or something. I'm
Yeah.
good,
So you like the
know?
country?
Yes,
Yeah.
dude.
Yeah.
I
Same.
love the
Dude,
peace. the
I
quiet.
feel that.
Yeah.
I feel
You're in
that.
good company.
You know?
Yeah,
Yes. Okay. And so no, yeah, that's kind of where I'm at right now. And just to touch on that last thing
Mhm.
one last time, I feel like God brought me from that so that I could learn and kind of form the knowledge that I have today. You know, as in just a better prepared mindset and learning to be humble in every situation because it can all be going like that.
Yeah.
Mhm.
You know?
Yeah.
Like you can
Seriously,
you can be that guy and then the next morning you can be the guy that everybody's like, oh, well,
Yeah.
sorry for my
No,
language.
no,
like,
we can bleep anything, so don't
Yeah.
worry about it.
Yeah.
okay.
It's fine. Yeah,
So-
it's-
Speak
yeah.
freely.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
So yeah, man. Just for me, I would have to say, even though I hated going through that,
Mhm.
I kind of see now. Okay, I probably needed to go through that.
Mm.
You know?
Dang.
It's so true, dude.
Yeah, bro.
That
So
lesson,
true, like,
I mean,
Yeah, it's so easy to just take your health for granted and just be able to walk around and
Dude.
just do normal stuff, you know? It really can be taken away like that.
Yeah.
It's crazy. Have you played since that incident?
No, just practices. I go to
Okay,
practice and I
okay.
help like the high school kids and stuff like that. Because the guy that I was working with previously, he kind of told me, he was like, dude, there's no point in going to go play professional rugby because what they're paying American professional rugby players is like $2,500 a month, maybe 3,000. And he's like, okay, you go overseas, you can get paid about close to $1 million, $3 million, $4 million. But then like you have guys in the NFL who are getting like $250,000 contracts,
yeah.
crazy contracts. Even though the sport that we're playing is probably a tad bit more physical, it's a bit more like they're completely different sports, even though they're both gladiator sports.
Mhm.
You know what I mean?
Mhm.
So he was just like, dude, if you're gonna go play for fun, play to teach people, play to have the experience. Don't play for the money
Mm.
because.
Wow.
He's like, dude, you're gonna be wasting your time. You know, you can
Yeah.
go get a better job and still keep your health without putting your body on the line for $3,000. You know, like I just that
crazy
had
that
to sit with me.
Crazy that the
you know?
pay gap is that big
Dude.
between like American rugby and
It's mad.
overseas.
It's mad.
Yeah.
You know, because it's not.
I mean, it
as
makes sense.
popular.
You never see like what high schools are having like full on rugby
Yeah.
games and teams. Yeah. It's
Well,
crazy.
yeah, true. Because
Especially in Texas.
now they
Because
are
football
in
is so
Texas.
big.
Rugby is big in Texas, but
Really?
just the fact that you have to say
Yeah, I didn't even know. Yeah.
shows that
Yeah,
like
yeah.
rugby is not that it's not that big yet.
Yeah,
you know,
yeah.
it'd be nice if it grows, but you know, yeah, definitely need to be safer as well. Because there's a lot of things that just happen. You know, people stepping on your head on purpose. You get cleat. Like it's wild. People biting people.
Yeah.
It all happens, bro. It's weird.
What the
Weird.
heck?
Would you say that rugby is safer than football or more dangerous?
I'd say safer. And the reason why
I've
say
always
that-
wondered this. Okay.
because look, if you have on, right, let's say it's you and me, right?
Yeah.
If you had on pads,
I'm hitting you as hard as I freaking can.
exactly,
Yeah, exactly.
point proven. Now,
Yeah.
if you don't have on pads, I think you just based on my size, you still hit me as hard as you can. but you know,
No, but I
like,
definitely have to be more careful and more
Yeah.
intentional with how I'm taking you
'cause
down.
Your
Yeah.
head, like you
Yeah.
know, if I'm running and you duck too low, you could accidentally catch a knee.
Yeah.
You know,
yeah.
like there's
I feel like you have to be
yeah.
way more technical.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's a
So
good
that's
point.
why, that's why I would say rugby is definitely safer than football. But Yeah, they're both gladiator sports.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, you know, you're still hitting people, cracking people. In both of them.
Yeah.
So
Wow, I've never known that. See, I had no
it
idea.
makes sense though. It makes sense.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it does make sense.
I've heard lacrosse can be pretty physical too, right? Yeah.
yeah, lacrosse was fun. You know, getting hit with the ball whenever they, you know, at like
Dude.
50 miles an hour sucks.
I bet.
Yeah, it leaves a welt on you, you know, but like the going from a physical sport to where like you can kind of just have a stick and like whack somebody, it's like, oh yeah. Whap, like it's
Dude.
it's kind of cool. It's it's still aggressive though, and I'm sure like in the collegiate like leagues and stuff like that, it probably just gets crazy because lacrosse is a lot of cardio. And then you also have like the plus of whacking somebody with the stick. You can jam somebody with a stick. And you can still run into people. Just getting hit with
How much
that ball.
can you like get away with?
I'd have to say it's closer to hockey, but hockey is more brutal.
Okay.
You know, hockey is, you know, you can take off dude's mask and just start smashing his face. You know, like that's wild. To me, that's crazy. But yeah, lacrosse is it's like hockey, but not as intense.
Okay, yeah.
You know? And it has its own way of intensity, but you can still pop people.
Yeah, okay. Were you still in Alabama when you were playing lacrosse?
No.
Oh, okay. You're in Texas?
Yeah, I never lived in Alabama. Our family is just from Alabama.
Oh, so okay. I didn't catch that.
We would go down there like every summer. And so that's where I just kind of learned where I was like, okay, I like the country more than I do the city. You know, I like spending time with my grandparents and my grandfather, like telling me this is why you don't break a horse like this. You know, you get what I mean?
That's cool, dude.
Yeah,
cool.
you know, rather than learning about formula XYZ minus the square root of 19. Where it's like, okay, I don't think I'm ever gonna see that again. You know, like I don't think I'm gonna use that.
Yeah,
but
I'm with you on that. Like when I get older, I would definitely love to have like a property, some land, just to.
Yeah, especially nowadays. You know, it's a good
like being in Austin too, where it's just getting busier and busier. It wears me on. It wears me down. I get tired just driving in traffic all the time.
I have to go camp like every 3 months, or else I'll go crazy. I'll go insane.
Dude, yeah, I feel you. that's
I gotta get out, dude. Yeah. I have to get out.
Yeah, just an open road is nice. Dude, you have an open road you can drive without.
Sad to say, but it's crazy.
Lights.
Without stopping every 30 feet.
Yeah, that too. Yeah. That's annoying.
So when you played, you were here in Texas.
Yeah, here in Texas.
Okay, when you played lacrosse.
Yes.
And all that.
Yeah. That was high school.
Go ahead.
I was just gonna ask. Yeah. So I'm really curious because I told you that I grew up in like a really small Texas town, and I mean, we probably had like my public school graduating class was around 90 kids. So small for a public school. And we probably had maybe 4 or 5 black kids in our grade.
Yeah.
And like, that's a huge discrepancy, right? Between, and we had some Hispanics for sure, but like was primarily white for sure.
Yeah.
And so I would kind of hear things sometimes where I was like, that's like sketchy in terms of like racist comments or just like jokes or something. And I'm like, I hope you're not telling this to like my friend, right? Like, so I'm curious to hear, can you tell us more about like what that was like for you? Because I don't understand what that's like. I don't. And so
I was going to ask them the same thing.
Because I'm really curious because you seem so cool about it. Versus like, you know, a lot of the world, it would be like, cancel that whole team, destroy them, like incinerate. You know what I'm saying? Like,
you know,
and so I'm really curious to hear just more of what you've experienced.
You know, as I'm like getting older, so I'll say a lot of people that I come in contact with, they're like, you're like the whitest black guy I've ever met. I'm like, appreciate it. You know, I don't know what that means, but okay. You know what I mean? Like, okay. And so I just learned that, I mean, there's always going to be somebody making fun. Like whether, because like for me growing up in school, it was like, okay, I go chill with the black kids and they're like, oh, you're not black enough. Oh, you don't sag your pants. You don't. Okay, I don't. I'm sorry, bro. I don't do that. My dad told me to wear a belt. Like that's how we were raised. Like I'm not stupid. I'm
Yeah.
sorry. And then I go chill. Now, the crazy part is though, I still have two of my best friends, white guys. And then I go talk to, I'm chilling with white guys and they're like, "Oh, well, we're jocks, yeah, yeah." They didn't really want to talk to me. I'm like, "Okay, cool, man." And so like I learned that, I mean, to me, it's not about like the skin color of a person. It's more about how the person is and how they treat you. And how I dealt with some of that stuff is just, I just learned to laugh it off. Because if I allow myself to just go off on this tangent and be like, oh, this really offended me, like, I kind of just have the idea of like, okay, dude, who cares? Move on. It's a waste of time to be like, oh, well, that hurt my feelings. Like, why would you? Now, if it's like just super crazy and a dude is just being like actually racist, I mean, like, dude, if you call me the N word, like it's been so long, dog, like it doesn't even offend me anymore. Come up with a new word, bro. Like, find something. Like, come on, I actually want you to find something because then we can have a conversation.
Yeah.
We can have a meaningful conversation.
Mm.
But yeah, just like I don't even know. Like, and maybe it's because the things that they would say, I wouldn't put myself in those categories.
Really?
Because there were African American kids around school and the white guys would be like, hey, da da da, or they'd say something and the black guys would be like, they'd get all mad and get all triggered or whatever. And I'm just there like, that's interesting. Just seeing people react to like the smallest stuff has always been interesting to me. And when you meet somebody who's trying to get an edge out of you with just like a regular response, they're like, "Oh, okay." It's like, "Yeah, bro."
Mm.
Like it's
Yeah.
okay. Like
Yeah,
it's just it is what you make it. I
yeah.
guess you could say. You know?
Can you remember who taught you that, how to respond that way? Did anyone model that for you in your family, in your life, or did you just like become mature all of a sudden?
Oh man, no, definitely not. Definitely not. I would have to say, I'd probably say my parents. Uh, maybe, maybe more so my grandmother, because my grandmother always used to say, "Kill them with kindness," and
Mm.
she was one of the kindest ladies I had ever known. And she would just be like, if there's anything that somebody is doing to you, kill them with kindness. And I took that in, and now at first I wasn't always like, okay, be kind, because I'd say like elementary school I would get into fights with people, middle school I'd get into fights with people, and then when I got to high school, like I just realized I got tired of my dad coming up to the school because I was getting in trouble and like going to the office. I was like, dude, it would be better to just walk away.
Mm.
Like it would be better to just not even react, because if you let them say something stupid and don't react, they're gonna realize that they just said something stupid.
Yeah, it makes me feel
You,
dumb.
yeah,
Yeah.
so it's like, okay, if you're gonna be stupid, bro. Have a good time.
Dude,
You know?
I mean, it's amazing that you developed that trait like so
That's
early
kind
in
of
life.
that's so rare.
So many people never get past that
Yeah,
for almost their entire lives.
yeah.
Is your
It's
grandma
crazy,
from
man.
Alabama?
Yes, yeah.
So I'm just like drawing conclusions here. You tell
Oh,
me
yeah.
if I'm right or wrong, but
Yeah, go ahead.
it seems like she probably had some firsthand experiences with like some real racist people.
Yeah. So she was a
Probably.
teacher. She was a teacher, and I didn't get to hear a lot of stories, um, because our family is so interesting. Like my grandfather is Native American and French. Like
Whoa,
white guy,
what?
blue eyes, curly hair,
Wow.
and my grandmother is just African American, So like they have
That
had
is the sickest genealogy mix I have ever heard of.
Dude, let's get
genealogy.
that.
Dude, our guest next week
Yeah.
is a
Yeah.
girl who does like genealogy documentaries for families.
Whoa.
She takes like people's grandma or grandpa and will do like a full-length Netflix documentary interview with them for just the family.
Wow.
Dude.
Wow. Okay.
Is that how the sickest business idea?
Yes, dude, that's insane.
Is
I didn't
that
know that
so
was a
cool?
business. I didn't even know
She
that like
does it.
existed. Bless her.
Yeah.
Bless her heart. Because I'm sure that, dude, there's so many things that our grandparents don't tell us that, I mean, if they had like an hour to just share,
Yeah.
we'd probably be like, wow, never would have thought, you know?
Yeah.
She literally said that. She says like her favorite thing is when people watch that back and they're like, I've known her for 20 years or my whole life, and like she's never told me that.
Yeah. Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised, man.
Anyway, sorry, we cut you off. You were saying that
You're good, man.
your grandfather.
Yeah.
No. Yeah. Your grandfather or your great grandfather?
So no, both of them, people have said certain comments to them because, you know, like, what are you doing with a black woman? What are you doing with a white man? You know? And that kind of made our entire family different. Cause even my dad, like when he was growing up in school, like they're all kind of lighter toned.
Yeah.
And so he was like, yeah, he was like, I wasn't black enough for the black kids and I wasn't white enough for the white kids. And that's when like segregation and stuff, that's when it was big, you know? And so they kind of just like stuck together. And and they went to a Catholic school. And my dad was, I know, man. It's crazy stuff. It's crazy stuff. My dad was Catholic until he was like 34. No, but yeah, they went to Catholic school, which I don't know if they really had to deal with too much racism there. I don't know, you know, because I don't know much about like Catholic schools. I know there's nuns, and they would just tell me about them getting like whooped by the nun or something, you know, like weird, crazy stuff like that. No, but yeah, and I would also, my grandmother, maybe my mom as well, because my mom grew up in sort of like a poor neighborhood, and there was like 8 kids. And so I don't know, because she's more of like, okay, well, if they're gonna take your stuff, punch them in the face, you know. And now that she's getting older, she's more like, no, don't do that. Like you have to, you must be kind, you must be nice. But you know, And my dad was mainly an aggressor, but he wouldn't. If we were aggressive at school, he would whoop our butts. that was the thing. Like, and because dude, elementary school, I was bad. I said something to my teacher. She called him. My dad came pick me up. It was freezing cold outside. Whooped me. Made me go outside, rake leaves. Whooped me outside. Went inside. Made breakfast, and was watching me while he was eating breakfast. And I was like, Dad, I'm hungry. He was like, keep raking. Like, I kept raking. And he finally let me back in the house to eat. And that's when I was like, okay, never disrespect the teacher or this is going to happen. You know, so a hard lesson, but learned.
Discipline, man. Discipline.
Yeah, dude. And so I appreciate them for it, you know, because every little thing they would definitely get on me about. Like, all right, correct that. And with my dad, still to this day, I'm like, yes, sir, no, sir. And to my mom, yes, ma'am, no, ma'am. Like, that's a huge thing in our family.
Yeah.
And back in the day, like, if we didn't say it, we would get spanked. Like, my dad would be like, what did you just say to me? if I'm like, he's like, hey, you want something to eat? I'm like, yeah. He's like, what? We're like, what did you just say to me? So, crazy life, you know? But yeah.
So I'm curious, did you see,
Yeah.
I don't know how to ask this question right, but did you see how you having a strong family unit and a like strong father figure who was there for you, that sat down, did those one-on-ones with you?
Yeah.
Did you see that make a difference in your development versus when you looked at some of your friends, like African-American or Caucasian, like doesn't matter.
Absolutely, yeah.
Or they didn't have a strong family or didn't have a strong father figure. Like, what did you notice about that?
They were off the rails. Caucasian, Mexican, or black. Didn't matter. Like, didn't matter the color. The relationship with the parents, or at least the father for sure. And for a male child, I'd have to say it's pretty important to kind of lay those boundaries and set those steps as to like what it means to be a man, you know, and what you're supposed to do as a man specifically, you know, and how to just be better and do better and want better for your family too, you know?
Yeah. Because you seem very grounded. Like you seem like and Zack and I both had really strong fathers too.
Yeah.
And
Absolutely.
families.
Absolutely. Yeah.
And so I'm just saying that like I can tell.
Yeah.
Like I can tell that you had a good family before you even told me. Right? Because it's like you can see the fruit of that in the person.
Yeah.
So
just in the way you carry yourself.
Yeah.
And that mentality you have where people, you encounter these situations where people say stupid things, but it's like, I mean, you're not even stooping to their level. So
yes, yeah,
essentially you're like bulletproof to them. So
Try to be, man.
yeah,
But,
I mean, words hurt for sure, but stupid stuff like that, it's like, why am I even gonna waste my time worrying about that? Yeah.
Absolutely.
And it's so wild to me when I hear stories of people being racist like that, because I grew up in Florida, in Orlando, Florida, and so Florida is just a big melting pot of all kinds of races. Mexican, Puerto Rican, Dominican Republican, white, black, like
Caribbean.
Yeah, Caribbean. There's a lot of Asian people there. Just people from all over the place.
Yeah.
And I also grew up with an older half brother who's also half black.
Yeah.
But he's like, he was a part of the family before I was born, so I just grew up with him. He's my brother, It's like I don't even like when I think about him like being a different color, it's like it doesn't even
register.
Yeah, it doesn't even register.
Yeah, because it's it's your brother.
Yeah, exactly.
That's what it is.
So when I hear stories of people being racist like that, it's just so odd because to me, I'm like, just as a human race, aren't we past this? It's like I feel like I'm hearing something out of a history book. Dude. It's like aren't we past this?
For real.
It's so weird. It's like why are we still acting like that?
But
that's crazy.
That's why I wanted to talk about it, because even though that's how we perceive it, it's crazy that other people live in completely different completely different.
Yeah.
They'll literally put themselves above someone else just based on their skin color.
Yeah.
And so it's like
so wild.
I know, that's what I'm saying, but it's like that's why I wanted to talk about it, because it's like there's people like that exist, and I think a lot of people at my school experienced it, where I would like hear. That's why I said, I was like, I would hear just offhanded comments or like stories, and I'm like, I feel like there's something going on like that I'm not experiencing. There's an experience that they're having that I know nothing about. Yeah. And so I think like just being curious about that is hopefully healing to people that maybe don't have the same mindset as you, that are like just genuinely holding a frustration and very kind of rightly so. They are feeling vengeful. They're like, I feel like, and maybe they, I just feel like that I'm trying to understand their experience.
Man. And I would have to say, I do thank God that you haven't had to deal with anything like that. But I will say there are African American people who are just as racist. And
really?
Dude.
Can you talk about that?
Dude, yes. Because seriously, I see all this stuff online where black people are like, oh, well, white people this and white people that. And it's interesting because I'm like, well, what if you just dropped it? Like what if we like stop paying attention to race? What if we got to know the guy instead of just being like, oh, he's white, or because you don't know where dude has grown up. He might have grown up in the hood around every black person, and you would never know. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Because
true.
So it's I've definitely met some racist African American people who are like, oh, well, black people can't be racist. Yes, you can. Yes, you can. You get what I mean? Like, dude, absolutely. If you're gonna walk into a store and be like, oh, well, I don't like that white lady's shoes. Well, how would you feel if that white lady was like, oh, I don't like that black girl's shoes? You would get offended, right? So then stop doing it. You know what I mean? So like stop saying these things. Stop doing these certain things to people. Stop being racist. Because it is either side of the board, it is racist, which is, it is what it is. But dog, it is what it is, even joking sometimes, you can be like, oh, well, dude's eyes look like this, and everybody knows what that means.
Yeah.
And it's like, okay, well, you're still being racist. So how would you feel if somebody over there said that about you? It's like, oh, shoot, let me stop.
Yeah,
so everybody can.
For sure.
How have you seen people, it seems like you do not have a victim mentality.
Yeah.
You definitely take ownership for like everything that you do. And I think that is a lost trait in our generation, and I think a lot of the world right now.
Yeah.
So, like, I'm curious, how have you seen anyone else with like a victim mentality? Like, how do you see them in terms of what they experience in life versus maybe someone like you or someone who has a mentality of like, I'm just gonna let it brush off. Doesn't matter what it is. Like, it could be race, but it could also be, like financially different, class wise you're different, or whatever it may be, right?
Yeah.
Like, have you seen different people have victim mentalities versus not?
Yes, I have. And that's interesting because even though I would say for the hardest people in the world, there is that little victim that creeps up every now and then that makes you say, well, I didn't do this because of this, or I couldn't do this because of this person.
Which is, it's factually true. Like, it is a fact.
It can be. Now, it can be true. Now, there are facts laid out there where it's just like, dude, this happened because this person did this, and it is what it is.
It is, exactly.
Like, that's out of our control. And so what I could say, though, is pray about it. And what I had to learn is to just do my best. Because if you waste your time blaming other people, you will not get any work done. And that's less time that you're like actually able to achieve stuff. If you focus on everything that like you're not getting and you're not able to or you're focused on what he's able to get and he's able to get, well, then you won't wake up in the morning and appreciate what God gave you and be able to say, well, wow, I'm still able to breathe. That dude is over there in a handicap chair, like just like the small things,
Yeah.
So the victim mentality, man, because dude, it still creeps up on me sometimes where I'm like, oh, well, if I could have been put in sports at this earlier age, where would I be now? But it's almost like that is in the past, but God is still using me now. So because if God was going to use me back then to be a professional athlete, he can still do it now.
True.
You get what I mean? Like, if God is going to use you for something, he's going to use you for it. And I don't know how it's going to come, like clearly, things just happen, especially with the Lord.
Yeah.
He can make stuff happen like that. And you're like, okay, cool. Nice. Wasn't expecting that, you know? But yeah, the victim mentality. Yeah, man, that's something that would have to be conquered, that I would have to say, I almost want to say everybody deals with it to a certain extent, because there's always something in somebody's life where it's like, okay, I wasn't able to do this because of X, Y, and Z, or because of this other person. But it does allow you to say, okay, well, I'm here now, and we can move forward in the best way possible,
Yeah, I feel like everyone has that, like you said, that little voice inside you every now and then that, I guess it's just human nature that doesn't want to take ownership for or responsibility for things you've done or even haven't done, But if you, like you said, if you spend all your time worrying about, oh, I didn't get this because of that, or this person did this to me and now I can't do this, then you're never going to get anywhere in life, because you're going to experience that all your life. So if you can't figure out a way to conquer it and move past that, then you're right. I mean, you're just going to be, you're never going to get anywhere in life. Yeah.
True.
Dude,
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah, the victim mentality, it's...
Yeah, that was a great question. Because, like, speaking of that, I don't know if this is like victim mentality or just like not wanting to do something. Like today, I got up so late. I went to bed late last night. And I got up and I was like, dude, I woke up so late. I don't even want to run anymore just because like I woke up late, like breakfast. Now I got to make breakfast. Like, and then I went into the mirror and I looked at myself. I was like, you know what, dude? If you sit here and keep complaining about how you don't want to run, you're not going to run. So put on a shirt, go outside and go run. And then I went outside, went to go run. And afterwards I was like, so that's all it took.
Yeah.
And it happens like that all the time, where it's like something that I don't want to do. And I'm like, I'm looking at other things. Oh, I don't want to do this. I don't want to do that. And it's just like, dude, just do it. Just do it. It'll be better if you just get it done.
Do it. Yeah.
You know? And praying about it too. Just being like, Lord, take me through this because I don't feel like doing it, but I need your strength to take me through it because I do not feel like doing it. You know what I mean? And he'll carry you through it. And after it's like, oh, that was chill. That was it. You know, like, okay.
It's interesting that you say that because I don't think you realize how rare that is because you, at your age, statistically are like 70% likely to have abandoned your faith right now because of you grew up in it. And so, I mean, I don't think you didn't go off to school, right?
No.
Okay, but I'm saying that because a lot of young Christians will go off to school and lose their faith, right?
Yeah.
So it seems like you've taken that on as your own. And I'm wondering how that was for you growing up. Like, was there a point where you remember being like, either I don't want this faith, like my family's pushing this on me, or was there a moment where you were like, you know what? I'm going to make this my own.
Yeah. I would say when it just like growing up, starting to get into high school and my times of being lonely, like I would remember because I was like the popular guy that didn't really have many friends. Like I was cool with people. I was friendly to people all the time, but like I kind of stayed to myself. I didn't want to be in what everybody else was doing. It didn't really look that interesting, you know? Like it was just like, oh, I'm ready to get out of this school, bro. Like I would rather be skating, you know, still, you know?
Yeah.
And so I would say just being in that aloneness, I remember that Jesus tells us that if we're alone, like we can count on him. We can always count on Jesus. So I would like take my Bible to school and read it. And then, there were times where I was like, dude, I don't want to do this anymore. Like this path is too hard because every time I look at a girl, I'm sinning. You know what I mean? Like my mind back then, I would race like so many different things. If I cussed, even though everybody would cuss in high school, I'd be like, oh shoot, man, like I'm gonna go to hell, bro. like you know, I'm like, bro, like you know, and then went off on a tangent. And like even when taking Adderall was when it would make like I would feel like a zombie at school and I wouldn't socialize with anybody. And that was kind of when like it was like a dark path, and that was why I had started smoking weed so I could go to sleep because the Adderall would have me up and like so grinded out like thinking. So on my
dude, it's legalized speed.
Really?
Literally. I mean, dude, like
I'm not surprised.
I mean, I'm like kind of joking, but it keeps you up.
Yeah, pretty much.
It's a stimulant. It's meant to keep you your quote unquote ADHD like
dude.
Focused.
It's crazy. It's crazy. I just didn't like the classroom. Take me outside, you know, show me how to work my hands, you know?
Yeah.
And so, that too, like with the smoking weed thing, you know, I was smoking like every day, and I was just like, dude, you know, I pray to the Lord and I want to be with him, but like this life, it was so hard, you know, where I was like, dude, I hate being at school. I don't like sitting in the classroom. I don't want to be here, you know? And so I kind of gripped to that a little bit and then stopped smoking for like 6 months. And then when I was getting into the sports, it was when I was like, okay, that's when the light just like flicked on. I was like, the Lord is taking me into something. Like, I don't know what's happening, but I know it's not just me. Like, I know God is working, you know? And you know that feeling where you're just like, oh, yeah, God is doing something right now.
Yeah.
You know?
He's cooking.
Yeah. He's cooking right now. So yeah, man, it was it's been a really rocky road, but being able to just like sit back on the times of my life as to even the time where I had went to like that juvenile place of like there was a decision to like keep doing bad stuff or not. And the fact that God like just like allowed me to, he pretty much like saved me from that stuff, like just took me out of it without me even asking. Like that's when I realized I was like, dude, like I owe this to God. Like I owe it to him because of what he brought me from, just from what he like took me out of.
Yeah.
Like it
Can
was
you explain
him.
what you mean? How he What do you mean by
As
like he
in,
took you out
you
of
know,
that?
like going to court and going to trial and stuff. And I'm a kid, and the lawyer is telling me what to say to the judge because I can't, like, I don't know the words.
Yeah, you're in
And I'm
third
sitting there
grade, right,
like,
dude?
yeah,
That's
dude,
insane.
I was I was
Yeah.
10 years old, like turning back to the lawyer, like, okay, am I supposed to say like, may I oblige or whatever? And like, I'm just sitting there in court, and then the cool thing is though, all of that stuff, I had to be on probation until I was like 19 or 20. And
No
yeah,
way.
thank God I never got caught.
No way.
Yeah, but now all of that stuff is wiped off of my record.
Really?
So that was the deal. Like if I got caught with something, that stuff will permanently be on my record. That's what the probation was for. So it's like, okay, if you get caught, this is like stamped on your record. Anybody can see it, And so they're like, you have this until you're 20. So had to kind of stay out of trouble, even though I didn't stay out of trouble. I was just like maneuvering my way through it while God was basically doing his thing.
I see.
Because if I ever got in trouble, dude, I was like, okay, they're gonna see that on my job application. They're gonna see that everywhere I go.
Yeah.
And the fact that,
Dang.
dude, there were times, so many times where was this close.
It seems pretty
this
harsh, dude.
It was like
What
it
kind of
was
sentence did they get? They're giving a 10-year-old 10 years of probation?
That's
yeah.
crazy.
Yeah. So I'm gonna say this on camera. And honestly, I don't mind it like really being put in because I think most people know about it. And I'll tell you, it'll take us back into why. So during that time of period of my life where my mom and my dad were fighting a lot, like I hated being at my house. I hated it. And so I went to school and I talked to some of my buddies and I was like, dude, I'm running away from home. Like, if you want to come with me, you could. Like, we're in third grade, bro. And I'm like, now look, this is where it gets juicy, right? Y'all are gonna be like, so like, look, bro. So I was like, okay, we're gonna go out in the woods and survive. Like, we're gonna live in the woods.
Yeah.
Like that, bro. Like I had already planned it
Holy
out.
crap,
I was figuring
dude.
it out. So next day, like I go in backpack, I pack my clothes, like I'm packing matches in there because I'm like, dude, I'm leaving here. I'm not staying here, bro. Get to school, and then my buddies are like, none of them are packed up and ready at all. They're like, what are you doing? And I'm like, I'm packed like
What are you doing?
Yeah,
I thought we were packing
we were
up.
going to the woods, bro. They're like, okay. And I was like, well, look, I brought everything. And then I zipped it up and I put it back on my back and it was just heavy. And I was like, dude, if something is wrong. Next thing you know, it's like, Lawrence Andre, I need you to step over here. Dude, I got taken to the office. I'm sitting in the office. The principal is crying. Like the vice principal was like, Lawrence, like, why was, and I was just like, dude, I don't want to be at my house anymore. And then they sent, which it wasn't fine, but I was 10 years old. I wanted to run away from home.
Yeah.
You get what I mean? Like
Yeah,
it was
yeah.
just like, oh,
In a 10-year-old's mind, all of that makes sense.
exactly.
Yeah.
Which,
All of that makes
dude,
sense.
which is like, it still boggles my mind that like I came up with the plan of like, which is outrageous.
Dude, you were
Clothes.
thorough.
Dude, I wanted to leave. Like I guess I wanted to dip, And so that's where I got sent to like the juvenile place for like a year. And then I got back to school, and that's when everybody knew me as the guy. And the story changed. That's how right?
Whoa, they made that up?
Dog. Yes, I wouldn't be here right now during that process. I'm telling you. So the girls at school didn't really want to talk to me because they were like, "Oh,
He's
yeah, dude." And like when I tell
go
you,
steady with him, he's gonna.
I got back to school and people were asking me the most bizarre questions. They're like,
Oh my god.
dog, I don't have anything. Like I realized what happened. I was just trying to get out of my house, and I thought I had people I could trust, and I thought we were gonna run away together.
Yeah,
but from then,
you thought your boys were gonna come
Dog.
with you, dude. You guys were gonna
Dog.
do Lone Survivor out there.
yeah, right. And see, but I will say this too. I thank God that didn't happen because I don't know what would have came out of.
True.
I don't know
Could've
what.
gone crazy stuff.
Yeah,
could
who
happen.
knows?
Then,
Who knows?
then my dad would have been in trouble.
True.
You get what I mean?
True.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Yeah,
The
a lot
only-
of compound
Yeah.
effects. That could have
The only
Too,
funny thing
like,
about that story to me is the
crazy.
fact that every single 10-year-old can probably relate to going in their room so frustrated at their parents, whether like it was like a serious situation like yours, or they just got in trouble or something.
Yeah.
Their parents yelled at them or whatever, and like they started packing their bags, like I'm gonna run away.
Yeah, dude.
Like getting so
Yeah.
mad at their parents, and then like
I went that. I
and
went
then
through that phase.
they fall
Yeah.
asleep, and their parents come in, they're like, I was gonna run away, and all
Exactly.
this stuff, right?
And now it
But
taught
you
me,
did it, dude. Like
I
you went
was-
through with it.
I know, and and I was nervous as heck because I
Really?
remember the day of just like I was like, am I gonna do it? Am I gonna do it? I'm like, yeah, I'm not coming back here. And yeah, I was like, I'm not coming back to this house. Just be like, I really at the time I really hated being there. You know, just because my dad was very hard. You know,
Yeah.
he deals with like some PTSD stuff, like seeing dead people and
Yeah.
you know, and stuff like that. And he was just very, very stern with us. But now that I'm older, I see why. And I see how it was able to help, even though he's chilled out now, you know, and he's like, I'm sorry for like being so hard AWS on you guys,
Yeah.
you know. But it's like, well, Dad, I get it. You kind of had to. Because now the world is in a crazy spot where maybe if you hadn't have done that, I don't know where we would be, you know?
Gosh, dude, yeah.
And so
True.
but yeah, dude, going back to the situation, dude, that was one of the craziest events of my life. And at first, like I had never thought anything of it because like for show and tell, I got sent home and my dad had to come pick me up because for show and tell, I brought over a picture of a deer that I had killed. And I brought its antlers. And so like that was like not allowed at school. They're
Really?
like, whoa, that's like, why are you showing other children this stuff? And the next time show and tell came around, I brought like one of my knives that my grandfather gave me. Got sent home again, bro. And so like I
Just
just
built into you, dude.
like yeah, like I was like, dude, like
That
this
is
is what we
the-
do. Like
That's
what
the
amazing.
country. That's the country boy collection.
yeah.
dude, and so like
Knife, gun, antlers. Picture of your first deer kill.
And so like, dude, all throughout school, like I was like the animal killer and like, you know, like the weird, like and people were just weird about it, you know?
Well,
and I
yeah.
was like,
It's
dog,
probably, I mean, you know, it's funny now looking back on
Yeah,
it, but
yeah.
as a kid, dude, I'm sure that was
dude,
pretty traumatic. Like,
yeah. It was more in the sense of like going to just going through that process of like being like I'm 10 years old and they're like, you're gonna have to stay here for a week, you know, and like and your parents
Dude,
are gonna come
that-
see you
dude, I,
once.
like-
and I'm like, but, like you know, I'm about to break down and stuff.
yeah, I could not
'Cause
imagine going through that as a third grader. That's
the-
insane. That's
It
insane.
was, but I mean, hey, I did something really stupid, you know, and it taught me. I definitely
Yeah.
learned a valuable lesson to not do stupid stuff like that. You know, dude, there's probably so many more lessons in that I haven't even uncovered yet. You know what I mean? But it was just like, yeah, that was an experience in life that I wouldn't wish it upon anybody, but it's not the worst. There are worse situations, you
Yeah.
know. And I just thank God that he brought me through that that nobody got harmed in that process. Like somebody, if they like so many different
Yeah.
I could see where the school people were coming, like the school superintendents and stuff were coming from with like,
Yeah.
and so it's like if they didn't know that you were planning to go in the woods to do your
Yeah.
whole plan, and even if a 10-year-old tells them that, I don't know, man, that just seems harsh.
That's
like
why-
a
that's-
harsh sentence.
my principal was all of them were like crying in the room because you know they were telling the officers and they were just like, we know he didn't have any intentions
Yeah.
of doing anything, you
Right.
know, and that's why the judge, you know, was
Mhm.
also like, I see you were just a 10-year-old kid who just made a stupid decision, you
Yeah.
know. So I wasn't sent into the actual place where I could have been sent because once you hit like 10 or 11, you can go to juvie. And, you know, and she was just like, you know what, I'm going to send you to a detention center
Mm.
because like I see who you are.
Mm.
You know, I see who raised you.
Yeah.
You're not like trying to just,
Yeah.
you know, and
Yeah.
Right.
but nowadays, like I look back on it and I'm like, dude, did I start that? Like, because now kids like
Yeah.
intentionally,
Right.
and it's just like,
I don't think you started.
dude, I
that.
hope not. I hope not,
No,
man,
yeah.
because
no,
like,
not at all.
and the fact of that, I mean, I did, but it was just like, I think I was the first kid in Round Rock that happened to. Because when I went back to school, dude, it was no like kids couldn't hang out with me because their parents were like, you can't be around Lawrence. Dude, there was a family. Dude, I'm
Man.
telling you, man. I'm telling you. And then I knew
That
kids
sucks.
in high school, though,
Yeah.
kids were like taking in high school, kids have in their backpacks. And I'm like,
Yeah.
bruh, like, are you? But I was in elementary school, like, you know, so that was probably more unsafe.
Mm.
You know, yeah. Well, I don't know. I think the kids in high school were pretty stupid, but you know, we were both
Yeah.
stupid. I'll
Yeah.
say, you know, we were both pretty stupid. But no, yeah, man. I just, yeah. They had a whole like community meeting, a whole neighborhood meeting about like what to. I don't know if it was like what to do or how to prepare. That's when, yeah, I got back to school and they were like, oh yeah, we started going through like drills because you. And I was like,
Okay,
it's
that's
like
some
nice.
good. That's some good
Yeah,
that came
that's-
out of it, right?
You're a
Like,
trendsetter,
I
dude.
get, bruh.
Yeah.
Like, bro, that's terrible, man. That's terrible.
That's crazy though.
It
Gosh.
is crazy. Crazy, yeah, craziest story of my life so far. So, and yeah, I wouldn't wish that on anybody. Waste of time. Waste of time. I remember looking at the like, dude, do I really want to do this? Do I really want to put this? I was nervous. And then for some reason I was like, yeah. But I think about that moment because I can almost like replay it in my head. I'm like, I should have just put it back under the bed, just went to school, like just had a
Yeah.
regular day, not knowing the consequences of my actions. And also like what I took from that was like, okay, don't put your confidence in man. You know, as in like you now there are brothers and then there are like acquaintances. And I think I would have to say these people were more so acquaintances that I was dealing with, you know. And so yeah, I put my trust in them to like, all right, let's run away, let's do this thing, like let's go live off the land. Trusted them, showed them, and then they were like, I was like, I thought you guys were hunters too.
They weren't ready.
You know, like I thought, but and hey, you know, like I said, it is good that we did not do that because I don't know where that would have led us.
Yeah.
4 kids missing from home. One's what? Yeah, like what?
Yeah.
That could have,
yeah.
and I could have
Can be
ruined their
undone.
lives too. You know, I
Yeah,
wouldn't want
yeah.
that. I wouldn't want that. So
So, when did you came to Young Adults with your girlfriend?
Yeah.
When did you guys meet?
we met like 2 years ago, 3 years ago at a water park. Yeah, I know. At a water park. I saw
It's
her at a water
romantic.
park. She was a lifeguard. And I just
Nice.
walked up to her. I was like, yeah, I like your shoes, you know? And, and so we started talking and then yeah, now we're here. You know, it's been an interesting ride because we were talking for a while and then stopped talking because I had left Alabama to go just work and kind of help my grandfather down there. And, you know, she was still checking up on me and I was checking up on her. And then, yeah, kind of like a year down the line, now that I'm back, we're like dating and trying to figure that out because I'm praying about going into the military and I think it's the right move to make. But also, I've been told by a lot of people, like, hey, if you have a girlfriend or if you have a wife and you're going into the military, you might want to break that off before you go in and marry her afterwards or something like that, you know, just because from what I've heard, they were just like, don't put yourself in that situation because you're you're only hurting the two of you guys, you know?
Dang.
So yeah, I know.
Hard decision.
Yeah. That's why I said I'm praying about it. Cause it's like, okay, you know, if this is the woman that the Lord wants me to be with, am I supposed to leave her? You know, but then again, if the Lord says trust me, all right, I'll trust him. But then again, you know, it's a sticky situation. It's a sticky situation because I mean, hey, for me, being away from a girl for 3 months, like I'm thinking like, okay, I would not wait for somebody if they're gonna be gone unless we are married. If we're not married, I mean, yeah, there's no point in like waiting. You get what I mean?
Yeah.
If you're married, that means you know the person. You have known each other for a period of time, and you guys have a bond together.
Right.
You know,
of
and
course.
so with somebody that I haven't put a ring on her finger, we're not living together. It's like, okay, well, I might have to just go. You know, but
Yeah.
I don't know. Still got to pray about it.
And sometimes if you guys are meant to be together, then
It will happen.
it
Yeah.
might happen.
You know, and that's what I tell her. That's what I tell her.
Sometimes.
You know, because
Yeah.
if the Lord wants us together, we'll be together.
Mm.
You know, if He doesn't, we won't. And it's just like that. You know, the flow of life. You know,
Flow of life.
man. Yeah.
Has she like met your parents yet, or is like how is that?
She's met my parents. I've met her parents. I like the family. I like her dogs. I like her dogs a lot.
That's a good thing to look out for. If your family doesn't have good dogs, then
Yeah.
you better watch out.
Dude, we don't even have any dogs in my house. My mom doesn't like. She's afraid of dogs. A dog back in the day. See, that's why I wonder sometimes why my parents got married. Because like my dad is country boy. If like a lizard runs in the house, he's like, it'll run out soon, whatever. You know, my mom was like, oh my gosh, hyperventilating, like about to pass out, you know? And you know, it's like, dude, like my mom when she was a kid, she got bit on her back by what's it called, German Shepherd or something, something.
Yeah.
On her back?
On her back, but she said it just nibbled like her back, and she never forgot it. My mom is the sensitive, bro. My mom is a sensitive, dramatic. Yes, a little. Oh, boy, a little dramatic, not too dramatic, but you know that's my mom. You know, I love her, but you know, and so ever since then, she's like, oh, I don't even want a dog. And even the little puppies that come in, she's like, oh my gosh, I'm like, wow, this thing, like you can kick this little thing if you wanted to, like relax, you know, don't do it. You know, I'm not saying kick them. I'm not saying kick them, but no, man, like I wish we could have had dogs, and that's why to me, I'm going to get a dog whenever I do get my spot.
What kind?
That's a great question. I would say a GSP. Or a German Shepherd.
Okay.
You know, German
I
Shepherd.
love German Shepherds, dude. Those are awesome dogs. Yeah.
I've heard they shed a lot. But
they do shed a lot, yeah.
Is that like a big problem? Is that a thing?
I don't know if they're like the worst.
Only if you don't care about vacuuming. You don't mind vacuuming a lot? It's not a problem.
My parents have. They have, do you know Great Pyrenees? They're like those big white dogs. You see them a lot of times out in country, like in the country.
Yeah.
Dude, they shed like crazy.
Great Pyrenees. I want to look this up so bad right now. Well, I'll look it up later. Great Pyrenees.
Yeah, they're just like big, white,
fluffy
dogs.
I think I know what you're talking about. I think I was at a barbecue like yesterday, and I think I saw one.
Oh, really? Okay,
I think so.
They're super cool. They're very like chill. Well,
or can
most
be.
Most of the time, they can be. They're very stubborn though.
Yeah. I think I know.
Our dogs, dude. They're they're one's Coda and Naga.
That's a nice name.
And
shout out to Coda and Naga.
Shout out. Yeah, they're freaking knuckleheads, dude. But but they do shed like crazy.
Yeah. Okay.
And we had a German Shepherd before, and I don't think they were as bad. As that. Yeah. So.
Okay. Wow. Okay. Yeah. Okay. But yeah, I'd probably say German Shepherd, GSP, you know. Great, what is it called?
Great Pyrenees.
I'm gonna look those up.
Dude, look them up,
because I'm interested now. Great Pyrenee. I am Great Pyrenee. Okay. Nobody
so
cool dogs.
What like made you want to go in the military? What part of the military do you want to go into? Tell us about that.
So right now, what made me want to go into the military is, you know, a lot of the people in my family were military. Like my grandfather, he was a Vietnam vet. My uncle, he was Air Force vet. My dad, Air Force. Other uncle is Navy. Auntie, Army. Cousin, Army.
Gosh.
Yeah, like it's just the list goes on. The list goes on, man. And it kind of inspired me to like go because they get a check every month for staying in for 20 years. They have properties and places, like they drive cool cars, and they're like, bro, just go in, go to college, let them pay for everything while you get the benefits and do this, And so I kind of was like, okay, that's not bad because I still want land. There's certain places I want to go. I do want to travel a little bit, and they're like, okay, well, if you want to travel, go. They'll take you to go see the world and stuff like that. Like, okay, you know what? Sure, why not? And the other aspect of it was just like getting to be around guns, and and oh man, and dude, I have a crazy story. I'm sorry, real quick.
No, this is the place for crazy stories.
Yeah.
While I was in the detention center, like we were drawing. They were like, "Okay, let's have you guys draw what you like," and I drew a truck with like 7 guns coming out of it, and they called me to like the administrative office, and they were like, "Lawrence, is there something going on here? Like, do you have an unhealthy obsession with guns?" And I'm like, bro,
or you said you look back at him and you were like, America. That's what I'm about.
No, hey man, hey man, it is what it is. It's who we are. You know what I mean? And so like, dude, we just hey man,
that's pretty hilarious.
It was crazy to me now that I think about it. 'Cause I'm like, oh yeah, I was a kid and drew a picture of a car with guns all over it. And I was like, bro, like really, Lawrence.
That's like every 10-year-old boy though.
Like, for sure.
Biting freaking graham crackers to make little pistols. Like,
dude, like
that's just how most guys are.
Not nowadays, but most. Yes. And so, but yeah, back to the subject. The military, just and so now I'm planning on going Navy, and my uncle was a diver. And he told me about some of the experiences. And the reason he became a diver was because he told, no, there was a guy in there that told him, black people can't swim. And so he took that personally and was just like, all right, I'm going to go be a diver.
That's so cool.
And, just the fact that, I don't know, in my head that like, he made a decision off of what that dude said. And that one decision changed, like molded his entire career, and he just kind of told me, he's like, don't be afraid to get uncomfortable and do things to be successful. Like,
wow.
So that was what I took away from it. That's kind of what he wanted to tell me. Like, dude, if you are going to go military, do something that you don't know how to do. They're going to pay you and teach you how to do it, and get uncomfortable and learn and try to grow.
Yeah.
And so,
gosh, that's such great advice.
Yeah, seriously.
I try to take it in, and sometimes it slips my mind, so. But yeah, I do thank the Lord for it, because out of all the things that have happened, the fact that he's still able to use people to pour into me that's when I'm like, okay, thank you, Lord. Because just at the time where I'm sitting here like, okay, I don't know what to do, the Lord is like, oh, go here. There's options. And when you prayed that one night, you know, and you said, Lord, open doors that only you can, and close doors that only you can, it made me realize, just you saying those words and praying like that, like, it was like, yeah, that's really all it is. The Lord opening doors and the Lord closing doors. You know what I mean? Like, it's life.
It's so easy to overcomplicate it, right? At the end of the day, it's just like, I had a professor at SAGU who told us that. He was like, he said this, I'll never forget it. He said, sometimes God will present you with multiple doors, right, or like paths that you can take. And each one of those 3 are not necessarily wrong. Yeah. He gives you those opportunities for you to pursue. And I believe like he also puts those desires in you to also help guide us on where you want to go. Obviously, like if it's an evil thing, you don't want to pursue it, obviously.
Yeah.
That should go without saying, but I'm going to say it anyway.
Yeah.
But those 3, like that's what I was saying, is those 3 doors, sometimes it's like, okay, option A is going to lead me down the path of the Navy, or option B, I could marry my girl right now, find a random job. And I might always wonder, where would this have gone? Right. And then maybe the middle door was like rugby, and you're like, okay, I'm already closing that one. Right. So it's like,
yeah, man, absolutely.
We overcomplicate it so much. Like, what's God's will?
Yeah.
Like, we over spiritualize, and sometimes it's just the next wisdom, and is sometimes just the next right step. And that's all you're doing, right? It's just like, I think I'm supposed to go here, so I'm going to take the next right step.
Absolutely. And thank you for sharing that. Like, seriously, because just you being able to like pour knowledge into me, just even some of the books that you recommended,
Mm-hmm.
where it's just like, you know what? Take a dive into what you're getting yourself into, into what you're doing. And it's allowed me to do a lot more research and say, okay, why would I want to do this? Is God really sending me here and doing this? And so it just puts me right back to square one. Lord, open doors that only you can open, and close doors that you can't. And like you said, taking that first step, and just that's all. That's all. First step, do what you can.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, sometimes it feels, I mean, that's like all you can do. You just got to take a step.
As I'm learning,
kind of see what happens. Yeah.
Oh, and I mentioned too that sometimes you'll take a step and you'll get into something like, let's use the example of the Navy, right? Like you take a step into that. Maybe you go try to be like a Navy SEAL. And then you realize, well, like, I don't really want to be a Navy SEAL maybe. And then there's what'd you call it?
Swig guys.
Swig?
Bow guys, yeah.
Yeah, okay. Swig guys. So you maybe figure out like, oh, I actually really love this. Like I get to be a support of the Navy SEALs or da-da-da-da. But you never would have seen that, arguably, if you hadn't just taken that first step.
Right, yeah.
And you're in now the situation because you've taken the risk, you're in the arena, right? You're doing the thing. And now all of a sudden God's like, okay, this is what I really brought you here for.
Yeah, dude.
But you won't know that unless you take a step. That's why people get so paralyzed of making the wrong decision.
It's crazy.
They're just so afraid to take that first step.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. Absolutely. Yeah. I couldn't agree more with you because that reminds, what you just said just reminds me of like what my uncle told me because we had a conversation, and he was like, nephew, he was like, first, just make it through regular boot camp. And, like he was just like, first, get in. First, go. And then go see what you can sign up for. Because, he's like, during basic, they're going to shoot all this stuff at you. They're going to tell you, and you're going to have officers. You're going to have opportunities. But he was like, the main thing is go and get in. Because in order to get to the SEALs, you have to like make it through regular boot camp. And he's just like, dude, you aren't even at MEPS yet. Like, get there first, Yeah. And then so it's just putting everything into perspective for me, It's like, okay, let me slow down. Let me keep praying. Lord, open doors that you can, close doors, that you can. And so, yeah, one step at a time. Take care of one thing at a time. Trying to, it's hard, but.
What was the, remind me again what the lesson was on that you did? Or in like the verse?
The end of Matthew chapter 16 and the beginning of chapter 17, which is Jesus talking about, these are things I have to do down the cross. And Peter's like, no, you don't have to do that. And he's like, Satan. And then the next part is him talking about take up your cross every day and follow me. Those who lose their life for me will find it. And then the next one is about the transfiguration, where Peter, James, and John, right? Yeah, go up with Jesus, and Jesus is transfigured, and then he sees Moses and Elijah, and they come back down.
Then you went through all that?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. I was like kind of confused at first because I thought it was going to get tag teamed and there was going to be more after that. And then I realized I was like, I have a lot of content right now. So like if there's going to be more after this, it's going to be a lot. But luckily there wasn't. So
you're the only one?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. Turned out to be great. I feel like this is a good conversation. I feel like a lot of people were talking too and adding pieces of information and questions and felt like it was a good flow. Yeah.
Did you think that there was a connection between the transfiguration and the passage right before it? With like taking up your cross and all that? Or
I can't remember anything specific that I wrote down. I would say.
I'm just curious. I don't know, because I hadn't realized that those two passages were right after one another. Yeah.
Yeah.
Interesting. Interesting. Yeah. Well,
you have any more questions or anything else you want to mention?
Anything else I want to mention?
On your mind, on your head?
Any questions?
Shoot, man.
For us? Or?
Yeah.
I mean,
tell me about you guys.
We're from nowhere,
we'll
dude.
We'll do that later.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh,
Well,
you guys from nowhere. Oh, okay.
It's going with the wind.
yeah.
Oh, wind guys. Okay. Look at that. It's interesting.
I mean, we can end it there, dude. Like
Yeah.
it's late.
Yeah, it
I feel
is.
like we got a lot of good
It is.
content, a lot of
Yeah,
good stories.
they don't want to hear about us.
Yeah.
They do eventually.
Long enough.
I'm sure they will. I'm sure
We have other episodes.
other episodes. Sure.
Yeah.
Well, thank you for coming, dude. This has been so cool. Thank you for sharing those stories with us and just being vulnerable about your experiences. It takes a lot of guts to come on a podcast and do that. That you just met me for the first time like a week ago, and this is your first time meeting Zack.
Yeah.
So
Like
I really appreciate
an hour
that.
ago.
Yeah,
Oh,
seriously.
well, I mean, I'll say this, man. I thank you for like allowing me to come on to your show, and just meet cool guys, like just chill guys,
Yeah.
and I'd have to say the Lord brought us together,
Absolutely.
Yeah.
and that's why I was like, okay, I'm going to go do this.
I'm actually like, what made you say yes? Because-
He just texted
Yeah.
me. He was like, Lawrence, want you to come on the podcast. I want to hear more of your story. And I was like, okay, like that came out of nowhere. Sure. Like I would love to, I would
Yeah.
love to sit down and talk. Cause when I talked to him that first night, just the words, just getting to hear his word that he said, I liked the way that he was, how do you say it?
Presenting.
Presenting,
Yeah.
and I could definitely tell that the Lord is like using you for something. And I was like, the Lord is speaking through him, and just using him as a vessel. And that night when we went into that dining room,
Mhm.
the fact that like, dude, you just prayed for me. Like you just like, you know what? Follow me into the dining room. And, I was like, bro is legit. I was like, bro is legit, man. Like put the hand on me, started praying. I was like, yeah, like. It was raps. I was like, dude is in it. He's really in it to be in it. Like it's real.
Yeah. Yeah.
And yeah, it was a blessing to be, like I said, to see you have enough courage. You're telling me about courage about coming on a podcast in front of cameras. Dude, you were in a room full of like, what, 20, 30 people?
There was a lot of people.
Yeah. And you still sat there and laid out the entire word. Like your entire sermon that you had for that night with ease. That's what it sounded like.
I'm glad it sounded like that.
And
I was pretty nervous. Yeah.
I couldn't tell. Like seriously, I couldn't
Really?
tell. Yeah, dude.
Dang, that's crazy.
Had a notepad. I don't remember what like quote was on your notepad, but you said something. And I think it was like the girl or the guy in the front that asked about it. But when I heard it, I was like, geez, where does this dude get this information from? Like bro is definitely studying. Like bro is like studying this word. Like, whoa,
I was definitely
So,
studying, that's for sure.
Yeah, and I could tell. And so I was like, oh yeah, dude. And then just out of nowhere, oh, you want to come on a podcast? Oh, and I heard you talking about your businesses too, about how like you started a business and then, kind of went down, then you started again here, here. So many jumps.
Yeah.
And I was like, I didn't know he was a business guy.
Mm.
I was like, that's really cool because I've been interested in business. I'd
Right,
like to
yeah.
start a business, It's the
Yes.
fact to hear like just you preaching up there and just having the knowledge, having to have at least seen like some of the things that I'm able to relate to. And you're just like up there chopping it up like, yeah, this is what happens. I'm like, wow. Like, okay.
Yeah.
Like this is somebody living for God.
Mm, mm.
And I would just able to see that with my eyes. I was like, okay, yeah, I need to strive to be like that, to be in a room with that guy, to hear when that guy speaks, listen,
Huh.
So
Wow. Well, I'm honored. Thank you for that. And
Yeah,
your
absolutely.
observation reminded me that and Zach's definitely felt this too. When we were at SAGU, we were learning about Bible and theology and religion and philosophy,
yeah,
all that heady stuff. We both really felt a big pressure to like become pastors. That's the big thing. Is like everyone's there
Yeah.
to be like a pastor, and it's
Yeah.
like we both kind of just sat down one day and we're like, I don't think I want to be a pastor.
yeah,
And
Yeah.
I mean, I had several
Yeah.
people tell me that before I even went to SAGU. So they're like, oh, cool, you're
Yeah.
going to be a pastor.
Yeah.
And I was
right.
like, I don't know.
yeah,
If God wants me to, maybe, but
yeah,
I'm not built for that, dude.
Yeah.
I'm not. Like Pastor B, dude is built for that.
yeah,
Yeah,
built
He's
for
for
sure. Yeah.
yeah,
He's built for it. You can just see the giftings, the talents he has. Dude, shoo-in for that position, right? Me,
Mhm.
not so much.
Yeah.
I'm much better like in the arena you saw me in. And doing something like this.
Yeah.
And so it took me a long
Yeah.
time, and it took me a long time to realize that God was trying to take my passions and desires for business and my passions and desires for my faith and meld them into one thing.
Yeah.
And it's
beautiful.
taken so long for me to figure that out, that it's felt almost hopeless at times, where it's like, well, I guess I'll just have to settle.
Yeah.
But as a man, like, you want to have a mission that's bigger than you. You want to have a purpose in life. Otherwise, if you have a why, you can do anything, literally anything. But if you don't, it's even the most mundane tasks are difficult.
Yeah.
It's like,
You feel purposeless.
you feel purposeless. Like, it's just so difficult. And so, like, you set me up really well just to talk about how what we're trying to do here is build a community where someone like Lawrence can come into a room where you're like, dude, I have all these questions about what I'm doing, my relationship with God, my future, my potentially future spouse. And I'm just like almost overwhelmed by all this analyzing I'm doing. And to come into a space where you can meet just like-minded believers, and not just like-minded believers, but people that care about you as a person and don't care about really anything else. Like, cool, you have your achievements. Cool, you have what you look like. Cool, you have your background, but who's Lawrence really? Yeah. And podcasts are a really cool way to do that, because it's an intentional time to just hear about your story. I feel like I know you so much better now because I have a background of, oh, that's his experience. That's how he sees life. Yeah. So what we're trying to do and what we found is, like, people, especially that don't want to go to church, usually want community. Yeah. They want a place to come and hang out, right? Yeah. They want a place to come and chill, just like what you just said.
Dude, yeah.
And so right now, it just seems like coffee shops are the best place for people to come and chill. And so, like, we want to use that business desire and the ministry desire to be able to have a space where people can just come in, and it's geared towards community. Yeah. People can connect and just
have that experience.
And have that what you just said is the second floor experience.
Yeah.
You guys,
that's
are
our whole
make it
thing.
Happen. I'm telling you, you guys are gonna make it happen. Like, look, bro's invested in. Hey, bro's invested.
That's our whole thing, dude. So
man.
That's the hope.
That's our hope, is that we can have a physical place where people can come and we just get out of God's way. Just like, whatever conversation you want to happen, Lord, make it happen with believers, non-believers, whoever, people of different faiths, backgrounds, religions, beliefs, that can come in and be challenged and also challenge us with the perspective, like, I did not see the world that way. You've given me something to think about. Yeah. Which I feel like is lost right now with our generation. Yeah. It's always like, no, this is how you have to. Yeah. Like, this is the only way you can see the world. It's like, you can believe something and still hold someone else's worldview to consider. It's not either or.
Yeah. Which is
like,
crazy.
I can believe that Jesus is God, and I can believe all these things, and I do, and I can be a follower of Christ. And I can also sit down with a freaking Buddhist and be like, what do you believe? And
why?
And not feel threatened.
Right.
And I think that's where you have those common grounds. If like we used kind of race as an example, that's where that common ground happens. Is like, it seems like you're seeing me in a different way than I want to be seen. Can we talk about that? Yeah. And then hopefully the other person's like willing to talk about it. Obviously it takes two. Yeah. But I would say, like, that's our overall goal. And it's been really beautiful. It's been really cool to see people come in. Like, our last guest, Michael, came in and we told him about the whole thing, and he was like, oh, that's cool. And then we sat down, we had a 2-hour-long podcast with him right there. And he gets up and we're talking over there, and he's like, oh, I get it.
Yeah. He literally, he said that. Yeah.
He was like, oh, like, I get what y'all are trying to do now. Yeah. So that's the fun part for me. I just enjoy the conversation.
Yeah. It's cool because we've spent the last like 6-7 months talking about all of this and trying to figure it out, like exactly what it is we're trying to culminate, and to see it actually like coming to life before us and working like it is right now. It's kind of crazy.
It's crazy.
And the other crazy part, right? I've spoken to my friends, because one of my friends does music, and he has the equipment, not all this fancy stuff, but he has the equipment to do podcasts. He's always like, dude, let's do a podcast. Yeah. And I always thought, I'm like, you know what? It would be dope to just like go on a podcast and talk. Joseph here invited me in here to just come talk. And I was just like, wow, God works in mysterious
He
ways.
does.
I
does.
get to see two guys who actually like put in the time and the effort to be like, all right, we're making this podcast. We're dedicating it to you. We're going in. And now I just get to like be here as a part of it for like an hour. Like what? like bro, like it's a blessing from God. You know, to be
Yeah.
able to be in your presence because I'm seeing two hardworking guys. I'm seeing like there's gonna be a product of this. You know?
Well, it's a huge blessing for us too, dude.
Yeah.
Just getting to meet people like you.
And having an excuse to be intentional.
Yeah,
Hey,
and just having those connections.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Because they mean something. You know?
It does.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
And the whole point of this is that, hopefully these relationships will go beyond the podcast.
Yeah.
You know, and like
absolutely.
these
And
are
that
real,
you're-
genuine friendships, connections.
Yeah. And that
Yeah.
your friends will be able to see you on here.
Yeah.
And then they'll want to listen to other stories, like the ones that we're going to have on, the ones that we've had on before. And hopefully those people are similar to you in terms of their curiosity and their mindset. And
Yeah.
that's how like-minded people find one another and that community can grow. And then one day you'll step into the coffee shop and you'll be like, dude, I'll be like, that's Lawrence. He's an OG.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah,
he was
he was
on
an
it. He
OG.
was on like episode 8.
Dude,
Episode 8,
shoot,
he was
man.
on. Like that's gonna happen. Yeah, legit.
Heck
dude.
yeah, dude. Heck yeah.
Crazy.
We'll have you back. We'll have you back then.
Okay. Then I'll have another story for you. I'm sure I will. Trust me.
Maybe that'll be after your first deployment or something. Who
I
knows?
know.
That'd be crazy.
That would be crazy.
That
Oh my
would
gosh.
be crazy. That would
I'm
be
sure you'd
crazy.
have some stories, dude.
Oh shoot. Y'all get me excited, man. I gotta chill.
Yeah,
'Cause
yeah.
I'm like, okay, I'm gonna go on deployment so I can come back and tell stories. You know, like, bro, okay. We'll figure it out. But
All right. Well, we're gonna link Lawrence's Instagram in the bio. Go check him out. Hit him up. Tell him what you thought was interesting about his story, this episode. Give him some love, and we will see you next time. Peace.
Sweet.
Boom.
cool.
Boom.
Oh man.
Nailed it.
Well, yeah.
Dude, that, whatever, I think it's the AC. When it
It's
kicks in, dude, it's
so loud.
loud.
I want to talk to you. Not now, later. No, now.
Okay, everything was recording. Thank
shoot.
God.
Oh, is that
Everything was
shit?
recording the whole time.
Let's go.
We've had our fair share of.
Yeah.
Technical
dude,
difficulties,
Technical
dude.
difficulties.
It's a part of it. It's a
Yeah,
part of
for
it.
sure.
Now we have a backup microphone.
Oh yeah.
We
Smart.
have
Smart.
Microphones strategically
Scattered.
placed.
Good, man. Yeah, gotta be prepared. Shoot.
For real, dude. For real.
Filming for like an hour. I don't know how long we filmed.
You want to see here? You want to come over here and see what you look like?
Oh sure.
Here.
Is it crazy?
I'll sit where you sat.
Oh cool.
3, 2, 1.
Oh nice. Dude, that's crazy. Dude. Oh yeah. Too easy.
Wait till you see the clips of yourself pop up on Instagram.
Dude, it's
It's a wild feeling.
it is a wild feeling.